What's going on, guys? This is the Red Rogue, and today we're going to talk about something I didn't expect to see this soon. There was another tuning pass that's been thrown around on a couple Blizzard Blue posts that should be going in-game like a day or so after this video is posted. And Assassination was included in it. I know, right? They didn't completely forget the spec exists, only mostly. I'm kidding. But yes, we will be talking about Assassination today, the buff that it'll be receiving, and what I think of it. So I'm sure quite a few of you have already heard about this, but Assassination will be receiving an 8% damage increase to all of its abilities with this weekly reset. Combined with the 5% it received last month, that brings a total of 13% overall damage increases across the board for our poison and bleedy stabby boys, compared to how things started off at the beginning of Shadowlands. This is a pretty hefty increase for flat number tuning, but will it change the way the rogue community views our third specialization? I think that answer will vary a bit based on the content you're doing, to be honest, so I'll go over my opinion of each of them. The video will be segmented out to each topic so you can hop around to whatever you like. I will say upfront though, across all fields of PvE gameplay at least, I think Assassination's greatest strength is being the most approachable of the three specs. Outlaw has quite a lot of key presses and things to track at any given time, and Subtlety requires very good timing of burst cooldowns to be effective. Assassination is the slowest of the three specs in terms of key presses and actions per minute, and involves just understanding that you need to keep your debuffs active on your targets and your maintenance buffs active on yourself. There will of course always be a difference between a good Assassination rogue and a fantastic one, however the entry point is pretty easily understandable. For the breakdown of context, we'll start with raiding, which I think is where Assassination will most likely see its largest resurgence. Castle Nathria has quite a lot of mechanics that require movement, and the poison and bleed uptime of Assassination are pretty appealing in those situations. There is an extremely limited amount of parses for Assassination currently in Heroic and especially in Mythic Castle Nathria, and I imagine the numbers will go up a bit for people wanting to see how much the new buff will really bring the average damage of the spec up, which I'm very curious to keep an eye on in the coming weeks myself. I'm not certain that Assassination will be able to beat either of the two other specs in terms of pure single target damage, but on any fights that involve multi-dotting or several targets, then Assassination generally proves itself very potent and can show itself even stronger with the return of the Zul'jik Insignia legendary, which allows for basically a pseudo-execute sort of damage, which on fights like the Sludge Fist encounter where he enrages at 30% can be pretty enticing. Or when you're in the Sire Denathrius encounter, since it has multiple phases, then Assassination's execute damage might prove itself to be a powerful asset there as well. For Mythic Plus, however, I don't foresee Assassination overshadowing Outlaw or Subtlety yet, though I think that is something that's still up in the air with the future of Shadowlands left unbeknownst to us. The main reason I don't see it happening yet is that both Outlaw and Subtlety cover two pretty big niches of Mythic Plus, with Outlaw having strong AoE and cleave, and Subtlety having strong burst and priority target damage. Assassination again does have the benefit of uptime when dealing with mechanics, but it's much less often in a dungeon that you have to ever move away from the boss for any extended periods of time to deal with them, unlike in a raid. The other reason, which I think will be alleviated in the future, is that Assassination lost quite a lot when Azerite armor was removed. Echoing Blades and Shrouded Suffocation were both heavily used to great effectiveness in Battle for Azeroth Mythic Plus, and there was no real replacement in their toolkit for these potent powers. I imagine though that as we get further into Shadowlands that we might see more legendaries be added, or once tier sets return we may see some effects from BFA come with them. If this occurs, I can definitely see Assassination holding some impressive completions on higher keys. There will always be exceptional Assassination rogues out there, and with this damage buff we might see more of them working their way into group finders and up the Raider.io leaderboard. And now for PvP topics. Yeah, I didn't prepare any of those because I'm not really a huge PvPer, which I know a lot of my folks already know, but for anybody new to the channel, yeah, I'm not a huge PvPer, so I can't say exactly how Assassination's gonna hold up now with this new buff. With the sheer dominance Subtlety has shown so far in rogue representation though, I don't see that 8% changing things all too much. I may be wrong, again I don't really keep up with the PvP side of the game all too much, whether it be arenas or battlegrounds, so maybe Assassination will start showing up more regularly, but with the burstiness of subtlety right now, I just don't see that being very common practice unless some mega nerf comes down on the sneaky ninja boys. Assassination does have sustained pressure with its damage over time effects, which is definitely more than Outlaw has, but that's not really much of a comparison, and I don't think either will ever really dethrone subtlety unless something big happens to it. Overall, I'm still pretty optimistic that this most recent buff will put Assassination up into a realm of viability for a majority of the player base. It might not ever be the spec that does like the first 30 plus in time key or the world first kill of X or Y boss in the future raids, but it should be something that leaves it at a decent amount of damage for most players that are familiar with the spec and enjoy playing it too and don't really get to that level of competitive nature. I'm really impressed it took 13% of damage increases so far this early in the expansion to put it in this realm of viability, and it still needs just a little bit more in a couple aspects. Mainly, the loss of those borrowed powers from Battle for Azeroth really hurt its Mythic Plus potency, and I'm hoping to see maybe some new legendaries added later on in the expansion, or tier sets, though it'd be nice if that stuff was just baked into the spec so we wouldn't lose it again like a year and a half down the road, but Blizzard enjoys adding things to specs and taking them away with whatever the current content's new feature is, so only time will tell, I suppose. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this little introspective sort of thoughts and opinions video on the recent buff to Assassination and how I feel about it. Let me know what you guys think of it, and if you plan on trying Assassination out again, then that's awesome, and let me know in the comments. Anyways, I just want to take a quick second to thank all of my regular viewers, commenters, subscribers, and especially my patrons, who all help make these Shiba Shenanigans possible. Thank you all so much for watching. This is the Red Rogue, and I'll see you guys around.